All right, I would like to call the meeting to order at 6:03. Emergency exits behind us, behind you guys, and the door we came in. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Jackson?
Here.
Mrs. Snyder?
Here.
Mrs. Gendron? Here. Mr. Paradis?
Here.
Mr. Jaros?
Excused.
Mrs. Burwell?
Here.
And Mrs. Gillard? Thank you.
I'd like to turn it over to Ms. O'Shea for the district reports.
Thank you very much. So first tonight, we've had a very busy summer, a number of meetings, wrapping up today with new professionals orientation. And Tim is going to fill you in a little bit.
I'm going to give you the backdrop. I'm really appreciative to the board in their foresight, their vision for establishing a vibrant vision and mission for the district, as well as a set of beliefs associated with commitments that tease apart those beliefs and give us some real ground to stand on. So the thought was to use that as a strategy in all of the meetings that we've conducted this summer. So we have also this summer attached our meetings to offsite visits, particularly to the CTE Center down at Capital Region BOCES. We had the admin council team meet down there on July 30th. We met there earlier this week with the teacher leader team. They toured the facility. They saw all the outstanding opportunities that exist for students in preparing for 21st century occupations like sterile processing and networking, wiring, and cable wiring, so that they could come out and be work for Verizon and or Spectrum and so on. And so in that backdrop, we had vibrant conversations in all of these groups about the vision and the values. We unpacked those beliefs. We focused on specific words and what they meant to each individual in the group and developed a shared understanding of the words, both in the vision and the mission, as well as each of those four beliefs that you've established. All with the intent of having the leadership of the district in the buildings, sharing language and understanding of what is good practice and what it means to have high expectations, what it means to have individual plans for students, what it means to have a positive climate and culture, what's the difference between the two, and what it means to engage the community in what we're doing. And so I think they were pretty productive meetings. And again, I commend you for having that foresight so that we can work in that framework. It's been an experience that when people wrap around a shared purpose, and that word in these groups, when they wrap around a shared purpose, some energy gets electric and things happen very quickly. So I'm excited. I would add to those comments about those meetings. We've been doing some other practical work on the ground. I want to commend the elementary principals for collaborating with me over the promotion retention process and procedures. To be clear, they all said, well, that doesn't happen very much. I said, that's great, but in the event that it does, where would a parent find the information and how would they know what's happening? So communication is important when a student's struggling. And if a team is going to be considering retention for that school year, that process needs to include parents as early as possible, and it needs to include strategies to help that student improve before a final decision is made sometime in May. So that's going to be embedded in the elementary school handbook, and we're going to put the new language on the website. It is not a black and white, you must do this and take this step. It gives principals some latitude, but it's very clear in what we're trying to accomplish in terms of partnerships, building partnerships with parents. We're working on device management. I met with the secondary principals and the IT department earlier this week with regard to device management, the collection and the distribution of devices. We have a batch of new devices coming in that will be distributed to ninth graders. We want to reaffirm the liabilities and the responsibilities that go with possessing a device by a student. It's not a never-ending well. We can't continue to give out new devices when they get broken or lost or stolen, or we get phone calls from some person in Troy saying, I found a book bag with a Cohoes Chromebook in it. What do I do? And so we're going to try to tighten up that process and expectations and communicate well with parents so we get their partnership in managing those devices so we mitigate any losses. There is directory information recommendations that have come down from state ed in June. We're looking at those recommendations and aligning those recommendations with our current existing policies. If there are updates to policies that need to be made at the board level, I'll share those with Peg, and she'll work with the policy committee on doing that. I don't think that will be the case upon my first review, but if that's the case, if it happens, I'll forward it in that way. We've asked the question, why not us and why not now? We have resources. We have new leadership in a key building in the district. We have people energized. We have experienced staff. We have a lot of new excited staff today. They were all here, all 18 of them, in all of the buildings except the principal Tacharo indicated that. So, but why not us and why not now? And why not keep pushing the ball forward, doing the things that we know work best, know that kids will respond to, and give them those exciting opportunities that the adults have now seen. They were all clamoring on yesterday to have the eighth graders go visit CTE to spark their interest and their inspiration for what can be in their life. And that will help them also to plan their ninth grade year and their 10th grade year, get the credits they need to get so that they can go to BOCES in 11th and 12th grade. So it's been a busy summer, but I'm looking forward to next week and having all the staff back, and looking forward to the kids coming in on Thursday, because that's what it's about. So.
Thank you.
You bet.
We will share the agendas with you from the meetings. A lot of good stuff includes for your leadership.
It's fun.
So some other updates, good news. We received a proposal for a medical director today. So we will be asking for that recommendation at the next board meeting, but I am going to ask that I'm able to make it effective at the start of board meetings, please. Yeah, Dr. Stephanie Bruno and Dr. Christy Morales from Community Care Physicians. So they responded. It's a thorough response. So we're very happy, and thank you to Ashley for her work on making that happen. So on the topic of staff, we are mostly in good shape as we enter the school year. We are still needing a special education teacher at CHS and ALS, Abram Lansing. There is a potential plan for .2s at CHS. We know that ends up being a lot to have an extra assignment. So we're continuing and continue to look. An area of concern is speech. We had one speech teacher on a 1-year leave, and then we had one speech teacher move out of state, relocate, and then another one take a new position. So Karen Renessi has an interview tomorrow with one. There is another potential candidate that could be a long-term sub. And then we still have the third opening. We've reached out to BOCES. They suggested we reach out to for a cross contract. They thought that maybe one of the other BOCES and they named some might have that service. So we're continuing to look at that. And then if we're not successful there, we have done research and we would have to do some work with CTA, but we've done research on some outside providers, contractual providers. So we'll find a way to make sure the services are met. We're down one teacher assistant. Our biggest area right now is teacher aides. So across the district, but more at Van Skyke than in other places right now, just due to some late turnover. I am meeting tomorrow with Madeline Bombard, who is our new district safety team leader. Very excited about that. So we're going to be really laying out the year, talking about hiring, onboarding, talking about some joint district level meetings with the personnel. We'll also be talking about fine tuning how to make sure there is coverage for the track, et cetera. And I'm also meeting tomorrow with Mary Beth. She's back from vacation, our communications person, to really talk about not only communication regarding the track, but communication regarding under pouches as we start this school year, and some other areas of communication, and really outlining some expectations. What we would like to do is, at the next board meeting, have a conversation with you around communication and some of the things you would like to see, some of your thoughts, and then we would be able to work with our communications with district communication and region BOCES. So just so you know, so we're looking at plans in that area. I do have to echo, today was a great day, 18 new staff members. I'd like to thank Rachel Marshall, did a big presentation on IT systems and supports. And then as always, Scott and Matt join us, and I have to leave for a little while, but that's okay. I have to come back as the Cohoes Teacher Association presents. Margaret gave a welcoming speech, but the key words that were coming across: collaboration, really a welcoming community, working together. So it was a very, very fun and just a refreshing day. And when we get to the agenda, I will share something about the MFA that you have in front of you. So that's it for me for now. I think you saw through my text, we're working on safety committee meetings, first round, and facilities committee meeting. We're looking at a September date for the safety committee, October date for facilities. We're looking for a November date for wellness, and we're going to be trying to intersperse some of the other committees in between. Any questions? Okay. No, Stacy? Enrollment. So this is like apples to oranges because we're comparing enrollment as of today to Beds Day. But I did want to give you an update as to where we are today, and with our overall enrollment, 1940, as compared to where we are on Beds Day, 1978. We still have kids coming registering. We have a lot of transition during our first couple of weeks of school. Principals will be sharing their opening report, so you'll get that at the end of the first week. And then when Beds Day comes, we'll compare. I did want to also share our E&O enrollment as of current. So 19 at the high school. The high school needs an additional 0.2 E&L. We can get it out of the grant. We just posted that to meet students' needs. as of Beds Day, so total 74, as of Beds Day last year, 75, total 74. So close, well, this one says enrollment 825.
Yeah, no, that's the exact replica of the.
Yeah.
slide.
So,
My bad.
okay, so I will get you, our numbers are slightly lower compared to Beds Day. We did have a number of students who got commanding, so we will place that slide. Sure. Okay.
It was 95, here it is, 95 last year.
So it's a
Significant.
Yeah, 20.
Before maybe the second. The middle school's up to 21.
Do you want to do that now? Yeah. So every year at this point in time, as a board, you look at the mission, vision, beliefs, and commitments and discuss if there needs to be any changes. So there you go.
So honestly, going to be looking to you guys for any additional feedback. I think when we initially made this overall set of visions, it ended up being at least, say, 4-hour workshop. And then some follow-ups. So I'll be honest, for me, I don't have any changes, but I'm always open to new ideas and other thoughts.
Kind of a part of both of that and this, but I think it's the simplistic piece of this speaks to its importance. And if you try to add too many things to it, it's a nightmare. So I like it the way it is.
Agree with that.
I'm just a little off on a partnership of schools, and then you say parents in the community. So I mean, it's not, they don't get their education just in the schools.
I think that's what it's saying. It's a partnership of the schools, the parents, and the community.
I know, but like the educators, when you're saying parents in the community and then you say schools is an inanimate object, but then parents are humans and community are humans, and that's just where I'm just play on words. That's all I'm saying. Just from English language. That's my only comment. I have no problems with it. I'm just saying that you're
So a
saying
partnership
that
of the educators, parents, and community.
But the problem is
when you get into specifics of
let's
educators,
face
it's
it,
not,
probably include 7, 8, 9, 10 different groups. And then I think the concern is it starts to get really wordy and God forbid we forget a group.
believe me, I'm not saying it needs to be changed. I'm just calling out that it's an inanimate object, and then you have it. So that's just, but I'm not saying it needs to be changed. Just my 2 cents.
Appreciate that all. Tim, as you guys were discussing this in all of the individual meetings, honestly, did you get any feedback or suggestions or thoughts from that side as well?
They were,
And we often don't get a chance to interact as much with the teachers, with the staff.
Right. So I have a reaction to the school. So school is a culture. And cultures are made up of humans in patterns of beliefs and behaviors that play out every day in a master schedule with groups of kids all traveling together, like several groups of subgroups of kids. And so there's a real heartbeat in a school every day when you live in a school year after year, watch kids come from 5 years old to 18 years old in the pockets of camaraderie that they have. And the adults pass them off to the next set of adults. And there's a real organic feel to school. So when I hear the phrase school, and when I'm facilitating groups of people around these school improvement ideas. So what I've shared with you is a foundational school improvement activity. And it's about helping people to understand culture and how culture is so powerful at either stifling progress or improving progress. And when we all get that yin and yang going and understanding as a collective, you're an arm as a leadership group of the school. The school as a noun, like we're humans as a noun, right? And so the school has a heartbeat. And when we think of it in sociological terms, then we can envision it being in partnership as a whole team of people, K through 12, and a whole abundance of roles that they play in the human services field to support families, to support kids, and to support the community. And vice versa, it's a symbiotic relationship.
So then actually, I will say, it may be a little bit offensive to say parents and not families. Because it's not just the parents
Yeah.
who are involved in the bringing up of the children.
Yeah.
When you say it like that. And it's not mom and dad or stepmom and stepdad. It's brother, sister, grandmother, grandfather. It's a very coordinated of a family.
It's a more holistic understanding.
Exactly. And that's the same where you're saying about the community, because it's not just the police force or the fire department or the psychologists, it's the entire community that's working together. So in that aspect, that's what I would say. It's a partnership of school, families, and the community.
So to answer your question again, in our work, we just went headlong into those ideas and how are we going to understand them? We were more enthralled with the words purpose and plan for all. And if we focused on partnership, and even at one point with the teacher leaders, I reminded them that, we've all been appointed. And what does it mean to be appointed? And I started asking questions of them about, well, where do you make appointments in life? Now, of course, we all make appointments with doctors and dentists and whatnot. And what's that transaction like? That what we call, we get an appointment, we're online, and we're getting a piece of time of that professional to service a need that we may have. Might be a wellness need, might be a health need. And when the moment we walk into the office, we're part of a systemic practice of service. And we're charged, the insurance companies are charged for each pieces of those practices. The receptionist who's managing the appointments and the patients and the order and the PA who's coming in and doing the vitals and reading the file and updating the file, and then eventually the practitioner who comes in and takes care of our need. And that's all built in all different services, but it's one thing. Well, it's the same thing. You've appointed us all to bring our professional service for your community. And so I reminded folks that under that appointment, this idea of vision and values, this comes from the medical field. I remember 20 years ago when I had to bring my kids to the Wilton Emergency Care Center, and there was mission and vision on the wall. And, wow, now they know what they're doing. Okay, I'm confident. And so it says something about how invested you are in practice and what you expect, not just of what your patients should know when they come in about the service they're going to receive, but also the people working there and what they expect their role is. So when put it in that context, now we all are compelled to, as appointed professionals, to carry out these roles. And the vision is the kind of overarching umbrella that we're all chasing. We'll never get there. It's evolutionary and ongoing. It's continual improvement, and that's a culture. the beliefs and the commitments are the real road markers on the highway that guide us. And you can have the conceptual statements like high expectations for all. It's kind of a fluffy statement, but it's a good catchphrase. It's like a tagline, and it's good for marketing and finding your niche in the market. But you have these commitments too that give life to those conceptual beliefs. And so we pulled those apart. I love that you included in belief number one, the commitment number one. I love that you included individual plans for every student. You know that I believe that every student should have an individualized learning plan, just like every special education student does. I believe you can do it even in your size district. Did it at Burn. And I've done it in schools that I was a principal at. It can be done if you have the will to do it. So helping kids to figure out, oh, this is what school's going to offer me. How do I prepare myself for it? And the engagement happens when they see it, that facility down there. Oh, I want that. What do I need to do to get that? When they hear that a student crossed the stage and had 82 college credits in June. If I'm dad, thank you, Cohoes High School. You saved me a ton of money. The biggest tax break I ever got. You know, but that's worth credit. That's attractive. And so it's a different plan for each kid, or some kids might want to do both. And that's okay too. And so that's what high expectations are, being able to tailor what we do to those individual needs. So in this framework, we're getting people to understand that language. When I use the operating room, when you have surgery, you have an anesthesiologist, you have the surgeon, you may have the specialist in the room, you may have a general practitioner in the room, you may have a head nurse and an assisting nurse. All those people are around the table, and you're the patient. And if they're not speaking the same language with the same understanding of those words, something fatal could happen. Not by intent, but just because of miscommunication. It's human. So the more we get universal language and universal shared understanding, the more people get in yin and yang together, and the more efficient things get. And we have pockets of really great examples of that culture at work, and we want to replicate that. So that if you didn't do this, you would be struggling to find purpose. Because what that yields is purpose. Why do I do what I do every day? Because it's important. Kids' future. That's what it's about. And how do I do it? Well, you follow those core values, because they'll lead us to whatever program we talk about. Should be in the context of, say, I have high expectations for kids. Is that building the culture? Is that engaging people? These tedious tasks, policy tasks that I talked about, we're going to engage and communicate in new and different ways about evolving expectations, because expectations should evolve, right? It's 5 years now we've been having one-to-one devices. We've learned some things that work, and we've learned some things that don't work. And we're going to try to fix that and keep moving. And that's what we should be doing all the time, whether it's operational or whether it's educational and instructional. We should always be improving. So you've got a good framework here. If you tinker with it too much, you'll undo my work. The peg let me do. So it's my 2 cents. I hope it answers your question. Or at least you understand the mind that was fine.
Can I just add one thing with our building leadership teams? We ask them, do our students know our mission, vision, beliefs, and commitments? And so that's one thing we also challenge for this year, to really make sure our kids know, where we're all moving, how we're helping, their thoughts.
We hit to the next slide? All right, high expectations, any concerns or tweaks, overall thoughts? Okay. School climate and culture?
Can't see.
So it's all students, staff, and families. So we did a good job using families there.
There you go.
Environment that promotes caring relationships, open communication, cooperation, wellness, and safety.
That's good.
Next slide. Future ready knowledge and skills.
Were you intentional when you used all the 21st century Cs?
No, but we were intentional in that we were leaning on the soft skills, the things that are going to translate regardless of what may change from day to day, from year to year. These are the things that we need in business.
Yep.
These are the things that we need our graduates to be able to do.
Creativity, collaboration, communication. What's the other one?
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking. Add to it character and citizenship. You know what they told us at Global Foundries? We went up there, we took a tour, we said, wow, this is really great. You have jobs for kids? Yeah, we'll hire them right out of high school. We'll start them at $70,000. What are the qualifications? Show up to work. Do they need like calculus? No. Do they need like physics? High level AP physics or something? No. Oh, how will they know what to do? We'll teach them. Just show up to work, have some character, be committed. We can do the rest. 80% of the jobs that second graders will work in this year's second graders don't even exist. And the kids that graduated in June, they'll work in 14 different career pathway jobs before age 38. Think about that. Or they won't be working at all. They'll be entrepreneurs. I got two son-in-laws and a son in their late 20s and mid 30s. And none of them work for anybody. You'd like to have their income. Yeah. Contracts, a graphic artist with contracts with Apple and Google. Independent contracts. Freelance website builder. And a freelance writer. What do you do all day? Different generation. But that's tomorrow. So we have to, what are we preparing them for? We're preparing them to be able to pivot and be flexible and adapt to things. And these C's, there's a whole body of work called 21st Century Skills. You can Google it, and they're all there. And if we focus on that, we'll also be focusing on the social emotional development of kids from the time they're 4 or 5 and coming to us. And we know that in communities that have a lot of trauma, that those soft skills are often the things that are left behind. And if they're left behind in the midst of the trauma, reading and writing gets left behind too. And kids come to school and we assume they know and understand certain things. And assumptions are wrong. And they fall behind quickly. And if we can't catch them up by 3rd grade, they're going to drop out of high school. And so it's really important to get them on reading on grade level by 3rd grade. But sometimes you have to take care of those soft skills first. So that's the kind of deep thinking that, particularly that third belief.
Mhm.
If your intent was to get us thinking about soft skills, we had a conversation about that linked to the future with STEM stuff in mind. And that's why we took them there. You know, so the question we're wrestling with is, how do we build scaffolding programs that will prepare kids to do that? And then we asked the principal down there, like, do you have kids that come to you to do these, kind of electrical engineering oriented kinds of things, but they would really like to go to engineering school and not into a vocation? Oh, yeah. And they use this certification to pay their way through college while they learn the real high end of the engineering part. And so it's about creating opportunities. And it's about kid exposure. Some of the staff have talked very passionately about isolation and that the students don't have a sense of understanding of what's beyond the city limits. And like asking the question, I made the mistake of coming up from down on Long Island, and my kids grew up in Manhattan, going to Manhattan on the train. And I said to some folks around me up on the hill, so do the kids get to go to the city? Well, sometimes we take them to Proctor's in Schenectady. I mean, Manhattan. I made 2 or 3 teachers every year take kids to Manhattan, because otherwise they wouldn't see it. And so in a lot of ways, the experiences up there on the hill in the rural area are not very different than the experiences a lot of kids have here in an urban area. So it's just a matter of giving them a glimpse of exposure. And, oh, wow, I could do that. So we're talking a lot about opportunities. Those are good conversations to have with adults.
All right, any changes for efficiency and equity of resources?
So next steps on the next board meeting. So these are also woven into policy. So we will, I think we could do a first read and adopt.
I think that's reasonable. We've been discussing doing that with most policies moving forward.
So I'll put it on the next board meeting. And thank you for your thoughtfulness. When we write, a lot of times now, we do say families and caregivers. So I think it's important to emphasize that to us. Okay. So the next slide about upcoming events, and looking forward to both September 2nd and 3rd. We'll share the agenda, and then our first day of classes. There has been a change to this slide, the September 10th slide, since we put it together, and the Abram Lansing open house has been moved to Monday. I think Monday's the 15th. So it will not compete with either the board meeting, and there'll also be time, the barbecues before the board meeting. And that'll be 2 separate things. So just so you know.
Thank you. All right, does the board have any item on tonight's agenda they would like to discuss?
So if I could just let you know that, as you can see, there are 4 memorandums of agreement with the Cohoes Teachers Association, and we spoke about most of them at the last board meeting. My apologies, I shared the wrong MOA with Ashley, which is what got up to you. So this is the actual MOA. All this does, this language is in effect in the contract for the high school, the bolded language. For some reason, the language for the middle school said no additional duties will be assigned to teachers with multi-school assignments. sometimes if you have a multi-school assignment, you don't travel every day. You might be in one school one day, one school in another. So all this does is to align the middle school language with the high school language, just that one sentence, now they're the same.
Good. Okay, does community have any item on tonight's agenda they would like to discuss? All right, with that, can we get a motion that the Board of Education adopts the following resolution of the August 27th, 2025 agenda and addenda, 7A through Q, sorry, 6A through Q, 7A through AA, and 9A.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Mrs. Gendron? Yes. Mrs. Paradis?
Yes,
And Mrs. Burwell?
Yes.
All right, are there any comments from the board on anything not on the agenda?
I do, actually. I know you're surprised. Anyway, I read a really good article in the Record today about Watervliet High School, middle school, obviously not in the elementary school yet, how they are now 2 years into doing the yonder pouches and how much improvement they've seen. And just the kids and the community and all of that. One notation that I did get out of it that I just wanted to bring to the awareness, sports communication for delay of a game, delay of practice, delay of, any changes. The coaches normally text the kids, and that's how it is found out throughout, like then the kids text the parents and stuff like that. So what they have come to find out is that they have to put out a daily communication. And I know next board meeting, we will have a discussion. I wrote that down about we're having communication discussions, but the communication that we have to get out to the families and everything that will occur for like after school or that evening or whatever, we have to be on top of it because we can't rely on our coaches texting the teams anymore. So I just wanted to, that was just one thing that like stuck out on me, and that actually is a big thing because it's the teachers or the coaches that are, they're texting the kids and, and that's how I found out every day that a game was delayed or whatever,
Right.
was from my,
Is there means through,
Schoology.
Schoology?
And so Parent Square is for parents, but Schoology 612, the students also have access to. So we'll have the
And all
company
the coaches have access to
with Jeff.
Schoology?
I don't know if they all do, but I think we can work through because if you have a cohoes.org email address, you can have access to Schoology.
so it might just be, when Jeff is meeting with the coaches in the beginning of the year, reiterating that it's not by text anymore, it has to go out through Schoology. And honestly, it has to be that way because we can't have parents not picking up a kid after school because practice got canceled.
So
So-
we'll work with Jeff and there, and if there's there might be, I know that, not sure if Family ID is a venue as well, but I'll work with Jeff and talk about that. We've begun the discussion anyway, because, not about texting, but about, using social media platforms to communicate, and not every student has social media, and so we don't want the social media platforms to be used, so we have
Right.
discussions too. So, we will, share more information, but very good point, thank you.
And then one question that I have probably at this meeting every year, how are we looking for Chromebooks for next week?
Good.
I like that answer.
We got 300 Chromebooks in. We've labeled them, so it's ready to go to 5th grade and 9th. And all the other Chromebooks.
And all the staff receive Chromebooks today. So.
Nice.
It's a Chromebook world.
All right, any comments from the audience on anything? Sean?
In light of the digital age,
is the no cell phones in school take effect this year, or is it still, because I know you just talked about being notified through text. I mean, it's the easiest and most efficient way to do things. My wife, for instance, me being as a custodian, I still get, when there's snow delays, I get my text 15 minutes before she gets hers. And I'll say, there's a delay, or there's no school today. She'll say, how do you know? Well, who's the one that takes away the snow? But if there hasn't been too much said about it, has the parents, family, or the guardians all been aware of it?
Yep.
And the students, that there's not gonna be any cell phone activity, or is it gonna be sprung on?
So there was communication through Parent Square at the end of the year and a couple other times this summer. My meeting tomorrow with district communication is to really make sure as they come into the start of the school year, everyone
And will
is
that be
aware. And it's a new,
entering the building or entering the classroom?
we're using a Yonder Pouch system. It's now a requirement in New York State. So as kids enter the building, at the secondary level, they'll put their cell phones in their pouch and lock them. At the elementary, they'll use backpacks, cubbies, teacher storage devices. But yeah, it's as they come into the building, as they leave. If a parent texts, when the student unlocks their phone, as soon as they leave the building, they will see that text. Parents will also be able to communicate, call the main office, and then, as you heard, we'll explore some alternative means as well about practices and things.
The other thing that I witnessed this summer, because I have access to every building, is it's not so much the staff of the buildings, it's the outside people that come and use our buildings. It's a state law that doors aren't supposed to be propped open, and it still happens. And I was in a building and I questioned, and they said, it goes on every day, but you can't allow it. That's how things like what happened today. Now, even though the man didn't enter the church, it's still how things happen. And then it's better to be proactive than reactive. I was asked to come back the last week in June to be a custodian at Lansing's. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or anything. The way I was trained when I was in the building was not to be lackadaisical. Like those silver alarms that were on the door, they're for free. Can you send Mr. Van Slyck down and take the alarm off the building? I gotta go out to the playground. My answer to the teacher was, "You have a key?" "Well, it's back in the classroom." "Well, it's an inconvenience." No, an inconvenience is having to call that family and tell them they lost their kid. So they're there for a reason, and you have to stick to the protocol. It may be an inconvenience, sometimes you turn the key and it doesn't go off. You open the door, it goes off. That means it's working. That's the only thing I want to say I witnessed, and like I said, someone said something to Mr. Bird. Mr. Bird said, "Mr. Van Slyck's in this building all week long, we do by what he says." That's the good thing.
Thank you.
So you're coming out of retirement then?
Mrs. Van Slyck's happy.
She's like my wife, just to be out of the house.
Thank you. For board policy reviews, that was our second reading of 8113, which is the extreme heat condition days. And dates for future meetings, September 10th, here in the middle school library, and September 24th here in the middle school library. Good executive? Okay. No executive session tonight. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion. A second. Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mrs. Snyder?
Yes.
Ms. Gendron? Yes. Mrs. Curtis?
Yes.
Mrs. Burwell? Yes.
Meeting is done. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you.